to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host and stroke survivor, Jerry Wall. And for those of you that are new here, I started doing this show to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, a brain injury, and also want to provide a platform for all survivors to share their stories from literally across the world. Um, and also bringing on experts in brain health so they can share their knowledge for us to learn, because there's so much about the brain that we really don't know. So anyway, this morning my guest is Rachel Jarmusz, and Rachel had a stroke. I'm going to say, hopefully I didn't forget, about 14 years ago, but we'll get into that. And also, with stroke did for her, brought on yoga. So yoga was born out of that. And she'll get into that, so we can all learn, because it's a pretty amazing story here. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed and hit the like button on my YouTube channel called Let's Talk Stroke, please do that. And John, nice to you. Salute. And anyway, you guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll go ahead and get started here. All righty, and Marina, nice to see you here. So anyway, let's go ahead and bring on our wonderful guest, Rachel here. Good morning.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Very close. Nice to see you.
Can you see the comments first of all here on the right side?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. I appreciate everybody being here. And so, wow. Let's get started. I mean,
yeah.
Who was Rachel before your stroke? I mean, you were 25, I think?
25.
Wow.
I was a mom. I had reading these comments, 2 young boys, 1 baby, and then a 5-year-old. And so I was a teacher. I had just finished college and was going into the elementary education realm.
Wow.
And then had my stroke. So never really made it to the classroom.
Wow.
But teaching in a different sense now, I'm teaching yoga. So it's kind of the same thing. I'm a teacher, teaching something different.
What caused your stroke? Do you know what led up to it?
So I was on a roller coaster at Six Flags.
Oh, wow.
And tore my carotid artery.
Because of all back and forth?
They say, my neurologist actually ended up saying he sees a lot of carotid artery tears from golfers because of the neck. And so potentially my neck got jumbled up on the ride and caused that, but they really can't be sure.
Right.
No, they really can't say for sure. But yeah, I got off the roller coaster and was dizzy. Then the first aid of the park came and was like, she's having a stroke. We need to call 911.
Wow.
And so they called the ambulance and then took me to the hospital. And like I was telling you earlier, I didn't even know what a stroke was. So when they told me she's having a stroke, I was like, my grandmother had a stroke. That's the knowledge that I had of a stroke was older people had strokes. I'm 24.
Yeah.
How are you telling me I'm having a stroke?
Wow. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, you were 24 years old. Who knew, right?
Not me.
Yeah, no kidding. So obviously one side is affected. You have those outcomes like that?
Yeah, well, at first, my whole left side was paralyzed and I couldn't walk. I couldn't really talk. I had very little memory. And so now, of course, I'm walking, but my fingers are not usable yet. So I just and through yoga, just got movement in my shoulder and my elbow so I can control, this kind of movement and this kind of movement coming up, but from the wrist down, nothing. But this is why I do yoga, is because I believe that through the breath and through movement, I can get that back, and I will get that back because I've seen it in my body. I've seen my shoulder come back. I've seen my elbow come back. And so it's like trickling down, you know, down the arm.
14 years ago.
14 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
14 years still seeing
improvement.
So yeah, you can keep going,
absolutely
never stop, really, because the body never gets to a point where it's like, okay, we're done. No.
Yeah.
And the brain is you know, we know neuroplasticity now. But we didn't know, you know, maybe 30 years ago or 20 years ago. So we know that the brain can change and will change with repetitive, you know, movements, somatic movements, and with the breath. I cannot emphasize this enough. Stroke survivors should be doing yoga. Everybody should be doing yoga. Breathing. This is not movement. It's not headstands. Although I like the headstand. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see I like to play with the poses. But most of my yoga is just, I'm trying to read some of this stuff.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Most of the yoga that I do is just like sitting and breathing. Like we kind of talked the other day about just like closing your eyes, relaxing, and getting into some really deep breaths that you can actually send the breath to different parts of your body.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know?
So you could probably see, I brought it up too. Salud's comment to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she does it every morning, Monday through Friday. And it's amazing what she does. I mean, it's helped me too, because I know Salud, and she does her qigong, and it's helped quite a bit.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. Jerry Hall, 13 years for you. Yeah. So your Instagram too, because that's really kind of, am I putting it right up here on the side? My YogaWill.
Where is it? Oh, yeah. MyYogaWill.com. And yeah, 23 years. I mean, this is why we cannot ever get to the point where we stop. But yeah, My YogaWill was kind of like my baby. That was like, what do I do with this? Now that I'm learning yoga, like I went to get my teacher training, did all the classes and the courses to get certified. And then I'm like, now what do I do? Well, I have to teach stroke survivors, because if it's working for me, it's going to work for anybody in any situation. So I really kind of was like, how do I get this out into the world? So My YogaWill was born, and I kind of started like a small support group.
Yeah, it's not
here
small.
Locally in Virginia, to try to get people interested in it. It was very cool. We did it for like a year with probably like 10 stroke survivors, and that was My YogaWill. That was how it like was born. And then I kind of just went on my own journey, like getting into deeper poses and doing that, trying to spread awareness that this is something that a lot of stroke survivors think will not help them, or they cannot do because I can't get down on the floor. You know, that's what I hear. Like, well, I can't get down on the floor. How can I do it? I'm like, you don't have to get down on the floor. You don't have to. You can do it in your chair. You can do it, you know, on your couch. You can do it laying down in bed before you even get up. You don't be on a mat, you know, in the middle of a room in a yoga class in a yoga studio to be doing yoga. And there are a lot of stereotypes that I would like to break within the yoga community. Like, you have to be a certain type of person to do yoga. You have to be thin, or you have to be flexible. You know, that's what people tell me is, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. Like, well, it teaches you flexibility. You don't have to be flexible. You don't have to have movement in both of your arms. I can't raise my arms. You know, I mean, I can raise this up now thanks to yoga, you know, all the way up and reach up. And I mean, that's all yoga and no drugs and no anything. But yeah, the breathing helps. Yeah, I mean, the breathing is literally everything, because it relaxes the body.
Yeah.
So when you feel like my arm was stuck pretty much like here.
Yeah, let me bring it out of here. There you go.
Right. It was stuck like here for probably like 6 years or something, you know, and I was going to get Botox every 3 months. And my doctor was saying, this is your only remedy. This is the only thing that's going to help you. And now, you know, I can actually release my elbow and bring my arm to straight and then bring my arm all the way up. And that's all me. That's not Botox or a doctor or anything. That's just me, my body, and my breath, and using the breath to relax and move. Like somatic movements are so powerful. I just can't stress it enough.
And you've obviously, when did you start your Instagram? Because it's because you started, now you have, I mean, I can't remember, 18,000 follower or something.
17,000. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been maybe like 6 years though. Wow. On Instagram. So it's been a slow kind of process of me starting with some like I said, I started with a very small group here in Virginia and just saw so much progress. I'm like, why are they not teaching this in rehabilitation centers? Why are they not teaching this to stroke survivors right out of the hospital? Because if I meet somebody and I work with them for a couple weeks, they're getting down on the floor.
Right.
You know, they're getting down on the floor and they're getting up and they're sleeping better. They're having more energy. They're getting off meds. They're generally just disposition is happier, more positive. And then I was like, I know I have to share this. Like I have to share this on a bigger platform than just Virginia. So then I took it to Instagram, which is not my strongest suit because I'm not great with technology and don't love social media. But it's been great for me. I mean, people are interested and it's building a small community.
Yeah, that's awesome. You let's see. So you're not on any meds at all.
No.
And like you said, Botox. I used to do that all the time, deal with insurance stuff. But
right.
You know, now there's no do you have seizures or anything? Or you have none?
No.
Wow. Good for you.
I was on blood thinners for a while, and then I was on baclofen, and they wanted to put like a
Yvonne
pump, you know, in my spine. And I'm like, no, I'm only 25. I can't live with that forever. So then my doctor was like, okay, well, we'll just do Botox every 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm doing that, and I'm literally not seeing results. And he's saying, you know, well, this is all that we can offer you. And I'm like, that's BS. There's got to be more that I can be doing, you know. And so then I found yoga. I mean, it was like 6 years after my stroke that I found yoga. It wasn't
How'd you find it?
I was at a day rehab program in Chicago. That's where I'm from. And I was bored because most day rehab programs are like very redundant. You're doing the same like hand bicycle or like whatever stupid thing. And I'm like, I was bored. So I was sitting there and I was looking at their group classes.
Right.
And I just happened to see yoga. And as I was sitting there, the yoga instructor walked in to the class. And so I kind of was like, hey, come here. Yeah. And so she was very sweet. I was like, I had a cane, like a hemi cane.
Yep.
A big hemi cane and an AFO on. And I was like, do you think I could take your class? And she was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, come on in. And she like made me like a nice little spot in the back. And she was just like, just do what you can. Don't worry about anything. It's dark in here, so nobody can see you anyways. And so I just started there. It was my first yoga class ever. Wow. And I like fell in love. Like it was like love at first sight. I was like, what is that? I need more of that in my life. And so then I left that class and went to do the teacher training.
Wow.
I was like, I will take the teacher training so that I can learn more about yoga for myself. And honestly, never really wanted to teach because I thought, who wants to see a stroke survivor teaching yoga, right? Like probably nobody, because we have so many like issues, or I have so many issues that if I walk into a class, people are maybe going to be like not into it. So
Yeah.
I was very much like, I'm not going to teach. I'm just going to learn it for myself. But then, like I said, as I started seeing people approaching me, can you teach me this? And then I saw that they benefited so much from it. I was like,
Right.
well, shoot, I can't hide anymore because I don't want to be like embarrassed going, like that's silly.
Right.
Like I have to get over that.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, let me just put myself on social media and like
Right.
really let it all kind of out. And that's
now,
right now is just letting
yeah.
it all out and
Wow.
seeing really who's interested in this, because I want more people to be interested in it so that I can eventually take a program like this into a hospital or into a rehabilitation center and say, look, see, I've worked with people. This works.
Right.
And this should be something, if I partner with like a nonprofit, this could be something that is brought to people free,
Yeah.
of course, for stroke survivors, and easily accessible so they can find it either online or in their own community at a community center or a church or wherever, just to get into it a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good comment there, John. Now tell Rachel,
Yeah, I'm trying to read these.
yeah, this one here. Let's say I don't want to mess it up, John. Here, that's a good. Well, I gotta move it here. Right here, John has asked, so we can do this on live online with you.
Oh, yes. So, yes, if you follow my Instagram, we do a bi-weekly Zoom group class. The next one will be
So bi-weekly.
well, every other week.
Yeah.
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 Some people think bi-weekly is twice a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Every other. So we will go April 12th. Let me see here. It was we did one the 22nd. So actually that maybe should be tomorrow. There will be, but if you follow my Instagram or follow me on Facebook, there are live updates with classes and stuff that I put on there, like free Zoom.
Yes. So that's right. I don't know if you know Leslie Hadley. She does that as well.
I don't, but I have heard from people that she had I've heard that name, Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie. Remember I talked to you yesterday about, and Leslie, that's right, till I took it. And but at first I was, I didn't know what was going on. I was more like you said in the beginning, even when I went to stroke support groups, I didn't want to be seen. I was embarrassed I had a stroke. I mean, wow. Did you ever feel that way?
I will tell you the truth. Sometimes I still am embarrassed. And it's this constant struggle of me like reminding myself that there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Right.
To own it. But that's a big part of the yoga. People often think that yoga is just like physical. It's a very emotional and a very mental process of like acceptance and like loving yourself and believing in yourself, and really like it's given me more confidence than anything that I've ever done in my life. So now I can walk into a class and be like, I'm a stroke survivor. Like me or not, I'm here to teach the class.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. But like the shame, it's there. And I think all stroke survivors feel that and that's so sad to me because it's nothing to be ashamed about. It's so powerful, and it should be celebrated in so many ways of like, I'm a survivor and I have these maybe quirky little deficits, but like.
Yeah. I hate me interrupting, but that's just how I am. Joy, she said she was embarrassed too. Exactly. I mean, I don't know how many people feel that way. And John's looking forward to following you on. It's more to follow you on Instagram, right? I mean, because that's what I see when I look at Simply Obs, which is Aubrey. She it is an awesome website. If you can look at my YogaWill, I put
Thank you. Yeah, I
It's a,
appreciate that.
you know,
You can, if anybody wants to like talk to me directly, you can go on the website and just fill out like a contact thingy and shoot me a question or something. But like Jerry said, I'm more accessible on Instagram, social
yeah.
media. You'll get me like right away, and you'll see that I'm constantly like updating poses and giving little tips of like, hey, your ankle rolls. Like we all have this
Oh
ankle
yeah.
roll. So here's a pose that you can do either in a chair or standing, with the support of a chair. Or if you don't want any support, then you have like options of what you can do to get some stability into the ankle. And then I'll do the same thing like for the hip, like your hip swings out when you
Oh,
walk, that whole thing that like,
oh yeah. And I noticed you're not wearing your AFO. Now, I don't know if you wear it anymore or what, but when you mention the AFO, I see your Instagram. I don't see AFO on there.
I don't wear one. Once I about probably about 2 weeks of yoga got me to toss that thing right in the trash.
Wow.
And I was just like, I don't need it anymore. And then it's cool because one of the guys that I was working with, he wanted to get rid of his AFO as well, but he was nervous. He was like,
Yeah.
I don't think and I get that. Like he was cutting his grass, out walking through, sidewalks outside, and he didn't want to walk without it. But
I know the feeling.
it took him like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks
That's
of
amazing.
doing like ankle things and doing different poses where you're like actually walking. Like I'm a big believer in like functional movements. You're not going to do like band exercises with me or like 100, lift knee ups or something. You're going to be doing very functional stepping, walking, things that are going to really get you into more fluid movement, feeling safe walking, because that's a big deal for us is that we feel like we're going to fall or the foot, is going to like, I always feel like my ankle's going to crack,
Yeah, me too. And I bet everybody out here who's not wearing an AFO that feels that way too. Because I constantly, for the most part, without the AFO, I'm staring at the ground. I mean functional movement. That's right, Aubrey.
Yes.
But
Embarrassed. She said, yeah, I'm embarrassed that I talk funny. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it really breaks my heart that people are embarrassed. And when I feel that like embarrassment in myself, I have to like, Rachel,
yeah,
stop. Like, and it's a reminder to like, remember how far we've come and what we've been through. And that,
right.
Oh, there you go. I wanted to add yoga to my daily routine, but I'm afraid of the part that I can't.
Remember, I told you that yesterday that I was, I can't. And Joy, you gotta follow you, right? And then to see that, you're not alone. I mean,
that's the biggest thing that I would like people like her to know is that, okay, so here's the thing. If you think of yoga, I always tell people like to think.
There we go.
Yes, to think of yoga without limbs, right? And it's kind of like, wait, what? You actually want me to think of myself as not having an arm? But if you can't raise your arm, that is not an issue at all, because you still have your trunk and you still have your other arm and you still have your shoulders. Like, for example, you could be doing a lift or a fold and not even raise your arms up, but you're inhaling, looking up, extending the spine, and then coming forward. And so your arms, and I say the same thing with legs too, because you could imagine that you're just like a core. And so you're in the chair, you could be in the chair doing a warrior pose, like, I can't really get my whole body shown here, but just by separating out onto the chair and raising, like my arm is not going to straighten out all the way, like this one, but I mean, it's pretty damn close. And from where I was, it's pretty cool that I can actually get my arm like this, but you could be here. Your warrior 2, could be here. One arm here, and then this shoulder is the other arm, really. And the arm, whether the arm lengthens or not, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need, and I tell people all the time, do not Google yoga pictures. If you are wanting to add yoga into your practice and you want to know where to start, don't use Google. Don't Google pictures. Don't try to like, I'm going to take this pose and I'm going to do it, because their bodies are different. Their bodies are not our bodies, and you're never going to get into that shape. Probably
Wow.
ever. And
Wow.
why would you want to? Because you have a different body. You have a
Yeah.
different body. So we have to be modifying poses to our bodies and not thinking of what we saw in a magazine or what we saw, you know, on YouTube, some yoga channel, whatever. That's not yoga. That's not
Yeah.
that's like modern BS, if you ask me. It's not yoga. It's not the traditional, like, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to move slowly, I'm going to listen to my body kind of movement. It's our American yoga has just become like an exercise. You know, like there's hot yoga, there's all this stuff that I'm like, that's not yoga. That's not yoga.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. It's crazy. Just to go back, one thing is, did you, your kids, how old were they when you had your stroke?
My oldest son was 5.
5.
And then my youngest son he had just been born.
Oh.
So he was 2 months. Yeah.
Wow. What did they think? Or I don't even know about you have parents and all that. Did they, I mean, 24, you have.
I was shocked. I mean, like, how could that have happened? Because I'm so young and I was relatively healthy. Like, I wasn't really overweight or like didn't have high blood pressure or anything. So it was just like a major shock for everybody.
Right.
My kids, I think, it was very hard on them to see me go through that and to see, laughing yoga. Laughing yoga
Is that something?
amazing. That is something. Yes, it is. So it is a doctor from India that started this. It's actually called laughter yoga. And he found that working with patients, laughing was a huge, like, improvement for mood. And so then he went to like different parks and like was telling jokes to people.
Never
and like
heard of that.
He saw that like when one person laughed at a joke, then like the whole park laughed at a joke, and it was like contagious. And so he started this laughter yoga, which is very cool. It is really, it is really quite hysterical. And
wow. So Mike, it's shocking that you're right at one thing. That's good. He gives me a hard time. And he's from South Wales, United Kingdom. But so I kind of don't pay attention to him.
It's very cool. I will say that it is
Never heard of
weird.
that.
It could be a little weird to be in a room laughing with people like for nothing. But I actually try to incorporate a little bit of, I wouldn't say laughter yoga, but smiling into the practice. Like as you inhale, look up, you smile. Because as we know, a smile releases endorphins. You're kind of like tricking your body into being happy. Whether you're happy or not, your body doesn't know the difference. It's feeling that smile, and it's releasing endorphins in your brain. So there are so many different ways that we can like kind of like use our bodies to heal. Right. You know, like you can teach your body things that will help it heal without leaving your house or without paying a dime. You know, like these are things that you learn and then you have. So like they're always there, you know.
That's crazy.
You always do it. Like I wish I could say that like I practice yoga every day.
Do you?
Know, I don't.
Oh really? I would thought you did.
I do something every day. So it might be reading or breathing or meditating or doing poses, but I don't do like a full-on physical thing every day because I think that bodies kind of need to rest a bit, and I am getting kind of old. And so I need to like the plateau thing that we talked about, like that is very real in the sense that like you do a lot of therapy, then your body needs to rest. You
Right.
can't just do therapy and do it, do. You know what I mean? Like your
Yeah.
body has to integrate it. Your body has to receive it, let it come in and like let it go down into your body. So that's what a plateau is. And so I kind of suggest to people, if you're going to start, don't try to start every day. Don't try to do something every day. Try to start once a week with something that, you know, you can stick to a routine of and stick to doing. And like I said, finding those kind of trouble areas in your body. Like if you know your shoulder hurts or you know your shoulder gets tight, then that's what you focus on, you know, threading the needle or doing like movements that will open up the shoulder, right? And that might be your entire, you just come like under. So you're like, and you can even do it by kind of grabbing the elbow and hugging here, kind of taking it to the side and to the other side. But simple stretches like that where you're just calm, breathing, and moving very slowly. You know, I mean, you can get so much mobility through your shoulder. I mean, it's really incredible. Like just from simple movements, simple things, massaging, you know, you can use like a dry brush on your arm, get like basically like energy into it, you know, like a little tapping. Even you could, people tap, like tapping
Yeah.
is really hot right now. Like
Yeah. Well, yeah, I heard of that, the tapping. But see, you're a prime example. You're showing like my side, the same thing, but you you're showing even, I mean, you're not like, oh, 100%, and you're showing you're doing your yoga and you're lifting this arm up,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean it, and no pain, and it's. I mean that's the biggest thing that I find with people is that, and with men, I always tell them to grab, and it's like because they're bigger here, is like kind of awkward to get into that. But anything that you can do that takes the arm this way, and like technically speaking, I'd be doing it like
You know, I'm
here,
only full.
you know, like on the floor, so you're coming like under and through this way. And there are, I mean, if you had an hour, Jerry, I could go through a whole routine for you of doing things in your bed or against the wall or on the chair or whatever, for that arm. And you would see immediate like relaxation, immediate, um, yes. You would, I mean, it's just, it's like incredible to me to work with stroke survivors and to see these gains. And like I just feel like we all need to be incorporating poses into our daily routine because they help so much. I do post videos, so if you look at my Instagram, and then there is a Facebook page that is there is a Facebook page that is YogaWill, just the name. You can just search that and you will find it. There are videos. So there are different levels that I do. Like there are, like if you are wanting to not get down on the floor at all, you can just, you know, use the chair to do the like a sun salutation is something that I talk about a lot. It's like a flow of like up, down, and then your leg goes back, and then your leg goes forward, and then you're doing a whole sequence of like, yes, strength and decrease spasticity. So those are probably the two top things that I would say yoga will do for you is increase energy levels, increase your strength, improve your balance, and decrease tone, spasticity, and help you sleep. Like, I don't know, as a stroke survivor, I sometimes have problems sleeping and can be in my head a lot. So there are lots of relaxing things that I can do that ease me into sleep, which then gives me more energy, and then, you know, everything else. But back to the videos. The videos are, so there's like phase one of if you do not want to be on the floor at all, Phase 2, if you want to kind of sort of get down on the floor, like you want to try, meaning like you have a chair right by you and you're going to like use the chair to come onto one knee and then get up, and then come onto one knee and then get up, and then take the other leg back and do that kind of stuff. And then if someone really wants to do like a full sun salutation, then you can do that as well. And you can be on the floor doing it, or you can be fully, you know, so there's different levels. That's why I want people to understand that they can always find something to do. You don't have to have 2 functional arms. You don't have to have 2 functional legs. You don't. There are ways to do it. I know it's kind of awkward and you might feel kind of funny, but I feel funny too. I mean, we can all feel funny together, like, because it helps. It helps, and you're seeing so much improvement, and it's motivating to do. You know, when you see, oh, I can do this, I can control this, I can reduce my spasticity if I do this 5-minute flow or this 5-minute meditation, then you're like more motivated to do it. And I hope to like draw like more of a community of stroke survivor yogis, you know, the yogis that are not like the normal yogis. Like I think someone said they're like fitness models, you know, like they're not real people that are modeling poses. That's not real life. So we need to show real life yoga that this helps. It helps. It should be taught in hospitals. It should be taught in rehab centers. It should be taught, you know, right out the gate, right when somebody has an injury. They should be doing meditation. They should be doing breathing. There are so many different breathing exercises. You would be blown away by how many different ways there are to breathe. Just to breathe. You could do a yes. Yes, well, that's the cool thing about yoga, is that you can do it at your own pace. You can. I mean, should be taught in gym. It should be taught in schools, right? We should be teaching children this in gym classes. Yes. 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 And oh, that reminds me that speech stuff, there is like face and mouth yoga, right? Which is something that like I haven't really gotten too much into, but I would really love to work with aphasia communities and do different things for the mouth, because there are so many like that, doing that a few times like really helps strengthen the muscles in the mouth and like around the mouth, so that like your smile starts to even out. And even like doing like you take the air around your mouth. You see how the air is just like moving around, but like very simple. You see that it's like such subtle things that make the biggest difference in the way that we move and the way that stroke survivors live our lives. Like, yeah. Yeah. So face and mouth yoga, like eye movements, there's so many different things. Bilateral eye movements, they're actually saying are like really powerful for stroke survivors now, like because of the eye connection to the brain and stuff. So if you like take your eyes, like without moving your head, you take your eyes through a clock, you know, like you start at 12 o'clock and then you go all the way around, and then you go all the way around again. And you do that maybe 2 or 3 times, and then close your eyes and do it. It's powerful stuff. I'm telling you that this is like the most subtle movement, the most simple thing ever. It makes the brain, try it. That's all I can say is try it and report back to me. I love getting feedback from people. It's part of what I'm doing, is writing a program to take into hospitals and to take into rehab centers. So any feedback that I get from people, like if you're doing yoga already and you already have like a thing in your, or like a flow in your practice that you know really works, share it with me. I would absolutely love to hear it. I would love to connect with more people about yoga and have it kind of be in the program that real people are actually doing this, that it works. You know, it's not something that is like a study, you know, that was done 10 years ago. No, this is real life. Yes, and she needs, so many people have eye issues, and like I had floaters in my left eye for like ever, and like would get all these spots on my peripheral vision and stuff, and those bilateral eye movements will help. I'm telling you that it helps. And you do it with the eyes open and then with the eyes closed, and go clockwise and counterclockwise. Go both ways and try not to move anything else. If you are just starting out with yoga, what do you suggest? That's a good question. And I would say I would need maybe a little bit more information about what you were wanting to accomplish by doing yoga to give you a specific like idea, I guess. Generally speaking, if you just want to like get your feet wet a little bit with something, I would say to start with probably like a breath exercise, you know, like so it's called like Bastriki, or like the American Heart Association takes all these wonderful yoga terms and gives them like just regular terms. So they call it birthday candle breath. Bastriki is the traditional Sanskrit name for it, which is like an audible breath. It's like a breath that you can hear and that has force behind it. Now, American Heart Association says that it's birthday candle breath. So we'll stick with that and we'll say it's birthday candle breath. So you're inhaling through your nose and then you're blowing through your mouth. And so I would say maybe start with that seated 3 rounds. Then try it standing 3 rounds. See how you feel. See what your tolerance is. And then I would say to get into like a downward dog or something, something with a chair. Yes. So if you have a subluxed shoulder, that is also, I mean, I think it's similar to the frozen shoulder. I mean, I guess it's kind of the opposite of a frozen shoulder because it's just kind of like detaching from the shoulder, whereas it's like tight. But same thing. It doesn't matter that you can't. I actually worked with a man right when I started this, and his shoulder was so subluxed that his arm was like, it wouldn't really do anything. And we actually did, there's like I feel like I'm gonna need more time to tell you all these little tricks, but there is like a strap. So like if you have a yoga strap, you can like make like a shoulder girdle strap, which is really cool. You like strap it around both of your shoulders and then you pull it really tight so it actually kind of like hugs the shoulder in a bit. And so that's what I would say the first thing that I would do with you, Alicia, or anyone with a subluxed shoulder, is to get that connection kind of like back in, kind of like force it back in and do things with that on. So like my yoga teacher teaches me to put that on, you know, at the beginning of class, and then I'm doing all of my forward folds and all of my downward dog with that on. So it's like a constant cue to like, for me, it like really aligns my collarbone, aligns my shoulders, brings my posture up, helps me, you know. And so I would imagine that that would do the same thing for you or any subluxed shoulder. But there are things that, you mean, people would be surprised if they say like, oh, I can't stand. Can I do it? I'm in a wheelchair. Can I do it? The answer is yes, 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 yes. I actually taught a class to a couple women who were amputees. They didn't have arms. Okay, so I mean, if they can do it, there's a way. There's a way. He says, get Jerry to do a yoga move, please.
Can you see me at all?
I can.
Can you can see me?
I can see you, yeah.
It's crazy. There's a guy digging out here, and he hit the cable line. I thought it was my computer. Sorry, guys, but wow. But yeah, regarding the subluxation,
Yes.
I have that.
Okay.
So what you were telling, was it Alicia that had
Yes.
subluxation?
Alicia. Yeah. If I can read right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you saw that I asked the question of the what's it called? What would you tell somebody new
Yes.
that's getting into it?
Yes. And I would say to start with the breath, start with the breath, start with the breath, start with the breath. Definitely start with the breath. Start with something that is going to get your energy like moving, get you and tolerance. Like, it's all about tolerance levels. You have to see how your body is going to receive this, because
Right.
if it could potentially be like, no, like, I don't want to do that. And yoga is really like a tool that helps us listen to our bodies.
Right.
It helps us communicate with our bodies in a very positive way. That's like, I'm not going to do that. Like, we kind of joke around in the yoga communities that I'm in with my own classes about how, like, the difference between an experienced yogi and a beginner is nothing except the advanced yogi knows what not to do.
Right. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how you started out and now you're completely into it. It's all because of your stroke.
Yes, and I actually believe that stroke survivors have a greater insight to their bodies because of these injuries. We have more, like, I just taught a woman on Zoom not too long ago, and she was saying that her body, she did yoga prior to the stroke. And so she was trying to get back into it. And we did a session, and after the session, she was like, she's like, I never thought I would be as good as I was before doing yoga, but she's like, I actually see that my body is more fluid now.
Wow.
It's moving more. And I'm like, that's what it is. You move with more grace. You have more insight to your body. You really do. And I know a stroke is like not something to really celebrate, but in that aspect, it does give us, I call it like kind of like a superpower. Like, we're like badasses. We are. Like, we are. And
I love it.
We can like do things with our body and have insight to our body that a person that didn't have a stroke doesn't have. They don't have that same connection that we have, or lack of connection that we have. But it's not a bad thing in any way. It's like, I think it's really kind of cool actually, because we can, like, I've worked with people and they've been like, I feel like I can feel my bicep muscle, like that particular of a feeling that is like, I feel this part of my bicep that's tight. And I'm like, that is a stroke. That is what a stroke does for you, is it gives you such insight. It gives you such, I mean, it's really incredible the way that your body is communicating with you all day, all the time. And we kind of just like ignore, we're like, oh, I'm busy. I got to go to work. I got to go here. But your body is still there, like talking to you, telling you things. And when you get into yoga, really, it's kind of just starting to listen to your body. I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to notice what parts are tight. I'm going to send my breath there simply by visualizing the part of your body and breathing there. That's all you do.
Wow.
Visualize within your mind, and it helps with anxiety.
Yes, I was told that. right? Is that wow?
There's
Good
a
grief.
quote that was actually like the Buddha was asked, what did he gain from meditation? And he was like, well, nothing. But I'll tell you what I lost. I lost my anxiety. I lost my anger. I lost my fear. I lost my depression. So we're really not talking about significant gains necessarily, although from my own body, I know that you can physically improve, but
Right.
you
Yes.
lose a lot of stuff. You let go of a lot of stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. You know,
Right.
things like worry, things like anxiousness, things forces you to know your body better. Yes, yes. It forces it allows you to get to know your body better and to really embrace your body and to
Right.
love your body. Like I said, it gives you like confidence, gives you like, oh, this isn't so bad. You know, I always thought that like I wouldn't be happy doing yoga until I could place my hand flat on the ground and be doing downward dog like a normal person. Okay, that's like totally out of my head now. Like I'm like, that is like, yeah, that's a goal and it's cool to have goals, but it's also like I'm happy with where I am.
Right.
I'm getting stronger in my arm and I'm getting stronger in my shoulder. And if my hand wants to stay like this, I'm gonna let it stay like that. I'm gonna let it stay, and I'm gonna say, you know what, that's okay. It's okay because we're working with what we have. We can't be like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be better. No, be here now. That literally is like the mantra of yoga. Like, just be here now.
Wow. You've taken so many courses, you know, seeing at your bio and everything on there. Wow. I mean, from starting out nothing,
Yeah.
now look
I
at
kind of just like dove right in because I was like so excited. I was
that's
like, how did
great.
I not know about this? I need to do every training that I could possibly do. I took like adaptive trainings, I took meditation trainings, I took addiction training, I took whatever I could take because I just wanted to learn.
Yeah. Good for you. Wow. So what would you tell, I mean, it's like this has been amazing. We talked a little bit about your stroke, but what came out of it was just, yeah, Marina, yes, Rachel is amazing. So what would you tell anybody or when they first have a stroke, you didn't know what you were, what is it? It took you 6 years or 5 years to get into this. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the first years, were you like depressed? What am I going to do? And I mean,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think we go through that. I mean, I know I went through all that until I
Yeah.
found this
I think that
platform, but for you,
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
I was completely, I think, and my yoga teacher trainer, the woman that taught me, she makes comments about how like when she met me, I was so like contracted in and kind of like
Really?
hiding from like the world, you know, like very tight, very angry, very sad, very, you know, I mean,
Right.
I felt like I had nothing. Like I mean, I was in my 20s. My whole life was like taken from me. That's what I felt like. I was like mad, you know?
Yeah. When you were 24 too. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. And now I'm in my 20s and I can't wear nice shoes. You know, I have to wear this AFO. I have to walk around with this cane. I mean, it's a total like self-esteem killer for
yeah.
like a young woman or a young man that you just feel like totally like an alien, you know, like you're like so different, nobody gets it. And that's why I work so hard doing what I'm doing is to try to make people understand that they don't have to feel like that. There is a place for you in yoga and you can literally do it at your own pace, do it in the privacy of your own home. Like that's a big thing for people is a lot of people don't want to be on Zoom doing yoga, which I get. Like I'm not trying to force people to be like, come on, come. I get it. It's like embarrassing. It's like nobody wants to be videoed. I get that. But how else are we gonna like study this and bring this into the world if we're not putting it out there?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was afraid of just making that Instagram profile because I'm like, people are going to judge me. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to see my pictures. They're going to be like, oh, look, she can't extend, you know, and then they're going to joke about it. And like, I'm not that confident, or I wasn't at the time, to be like, oh, I don't care, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just, you know, I mean, you have to just kind of get over that hump of like, I feel like we need the world to hear us,
Right.
you know, and see us doing yoga, because there's such bad stereotypes out there that are like, you have to look like this to do yoga.
Yeah.
You have to be like this to do yoga. You have to have yoga pants to do yoga. You have to have a yoga mat. You know, like, and none of that's true. You can do it on the floor.
Yeah.
You can do it on a blanket. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to spend any money. You know, I always work with stroke survivors for like the first 4 weeks for free, because I want them to have a really good foundation of like the poses and like how they can then take that and then just do it themselves. You know, like, I don't want people like, oh, I have to go to Rachel. I have to go to my yoga. I have to go. No, like, I'm teaching you skills that you can use yourself. That's the goal, is to get people doing yoga at home, in their homes, hopefully sharing information with the people around them, so that this like trickles into the world, you know, bigger.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, obviously you are completely in love with yoga and how it's helped you recover more and more, because I know you celebrate all those little wins and you're seeing the results. And I mean, all these great comments, you know, how positive you are and what you've done for yourself, and you just want to pass that on to like me, everybody else in the in the world, and stroke especially, because that's people, like you said, don't feel like, you know, I can't move this one arm, I can't do this. What am I going to sit there and just do the pose or something, and it's not right? But you know, your show.
Yeah, I actually had a woman that came to me for a private session that had gone to a yoga studio, and that's what they had her do. They had her sit and visualize movement.
Right.
So her whole class was visualizing movement. The teacher was like, well, if you can't do it, just visualize it. And so she was visualizing, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. We can do better than that.
Yes.
We can do, you don't want to feel like you're different. Or they'll have like accessible yoga classes that are like totally different classes in totally different places.
Right.
And I'm just not for that separation. Like, I think that we should be included. We should be.
Absolutely.
We need to be louder about our needs and what we can do. And I think there is a lot of intimidation by the yoga community.
Yeah.
From people like us, because they
I agree. And Jerry,
they don't know what to do, really.
Yeah, Jerry Chapman, I completely understand. You know, as he's saying, you made me think of yoga in a totally different way. And I feel the same way. Unbelievable. I mean, we should do that, you know, because I could put 10 people on this. We should do a yoga thing.
Yeah, we should do it. We should do it. We should do a chair.
All strokes.
Like an intro, all stroke survivors,
Exactly.
It'll be like an hour.
Yeah.
So be prepared for an hour, because we want to get kind of into everything. But yeah, we should do that. We should definitely do that. I do it on Instagram. So like I said, like bi-weekly, every other week, there will be a post made about contact me for the Zoom link. That's what I use, is Zoom, and just send out the link to people that want it with the password, and then have them join. It's like a Wednesday. I think it was like Wednesday at 6.
Okay.
It was the time that we had agreed on. So it's like an evening class, hopefully.
That's East Coast time.
East Coast time. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody will have to figure out their own time. But
right. I know. You saw me try to like calculate, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, forget it. Yeah. Well, I appreciate.
Figure out your own time, but we could do it at 10 or 11 or in the morning if that works better for people. I find that sometimes people say they can't do it during the day because they're
Yeah,
busy.
that's.
So my yoga will.
Let me. Yeah, I put your. It's my yoga will.
Website. So it's the website is the same thing
Yeah.
.com, but the Instagram handle and Facebook has a page.
Yeah.
That I try to be good about posting stuff on, but I forget. Sometimes Instagram I'm better at, like
Yeah.
daily posts and stuff. So if people really want to like chat, send me a message or like
Yeah.
say, hey, I want to do a shoulder stand, or like I'm a big one for like headstand, shoulder stand, and back bends.
Right.
Like and stroke survivors actually getting into them,
Yeah.
you know, like which is really cool.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think.
Especially coming from a stroke survivor herself, showing that, I mean, you
Right.
could do it. You know, I should be able to at least do something. You know, don't.
Listen, I mean, I'm pretty messed up. So I say, like, if I can do it,
That's that.
y'all can do it. Y'all can probably do it better than me because I'm like, my body is like glitchy. It's got a lot of issues. But like that's the thing is that if I can do
Yeah.
it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And small things. Small, like we could do a chair class. We'll do like it would be probably like, well, it depends on who would be there, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing it would probably be like a half an hour of completely seated and then maybe 20 or so minutes of some standing stuff, balancing poses, and then like 10 minutes of
Yeah.
meditation afterwards.
I love it. And I saw you, you know, crossing legs, standing. I'm thinking of myself doing that. Oh my God.
I'll teach you that one. I'll teach you that one in the chair.
Yeah. Well, no,
I'll teach you that.
I walk and do all that, but I still wear the AFO. But for me to get out of it and have my ankle not do this, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tell people like, come on and try it. If you try it, like the way that I work is like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
To start with is all free, but I'd like to find committed people that will do it, you know, like at least once a week, twice a week, possibly, if you're really set on like a goal, like.
Thank you, Marina.
Yeah. There's Marina. She's local here to me. So she was in my class.
Yeah.
So she's a good one to give feedback about how I actually teach and that I'm like a real person here
Yeah, you're somebody.
doing this. Yeah. People. Yeah.
That's awesome, Marina. I'm glad. Well, I appreciate you being here. It's kind of over an hour, but whatever. Well, I mean, make sure if you go to Rachel's site, my YogaWill, fill out the form and see if we can get this thing all started to get on there and get a bunch of stroke.
Yeah, I think we should do it. We should get a group going and start a class. Yeah,
absolutely.
Send me messages and let's try to definitely stay connected and share. Like I was telling them, I think when you were gone, obviously people are doing yoga.
Yeah,
already.
I was watching on my phone, waiting for my computer to.
Okay.
But and I was commenting, so I didn't leave you.
That's true. That's true. But there are people that are already doing this. And I don't mean to take away from their practice already or say like, no, you're doing it wrong. But I want, like, share with me, share what you're doing, give me feedback about what you're doing. And hopefully we can create a community. You know, I'm going on to do my next teacher training. So I will be like a very, very certified yoga teacher.
Wow.
But like the highest
You'll
level of yoga certification. And so when you're at that level, you can train other teachers to be yoga teachers. So my eventual goal is to have stroke survivors training to be yoga teachers.
That's awesome.
In the world, which would be like the most amazing thing ever. Like, really, I think like that the world needs to see is us doing our thing and being real like badasses. Like we can do this. We're not disabled. We're not like funky. We're not weird, although maybe a little eccentric.
Well, that's Mike.
But
Mike asked, let's see, what did he say? remind us when you are on. So for you.
Okay. So
They-
Wednesdays, look on my Instagram because I actually think that I'm going to have to do one tomorrow evening. So it's going to be every other Wednesday night at 6 p.m. is when I am live on Zoom
Right.
doing this. So if you want to connect like live with me and chat, even if you just want to like send me a message on Instagram and be like, hey, I saw this yoga thing that seemed interesting. I don't know if I could do it. What do you think? Or I already do pigeon pose. How could I modify? Whatever. Just
Yeah.
message me.
Got it.
And we'll get a group going. I think we should do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you being here. It's just amazing. And thanks for all the comments and the questions, everybody.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is amazing. This is really cool. My first time doing something like this.
Yeah,
It's very neat.
so people know this is well, a lot of them, we're on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, several different Facebook pages. But anyway,
I don't know what half of those are, but okay.
it's all good, and you'll see it out there, and I'll send you a copy. But I appreciate guys. You guys have a great day today. This has been awesome. This has been very uplifting. I feel like Jerry Chapman said, I see it differently now. So that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Namaste, guys. Thank you. And
you can do it, right?
You can do it.
You can do it.
You can do
All
it.
right.
You can do it. Yeah. Thank you so much.